off the bat, I denounce, outright denounce what happened to our beloved Owen. That's a small cup of coffee. Because why do I denounce it? Because I can easily denounce it. Because I don't condone this kind of behaviour. I am someone that doesn't condone this kind of thing, and therefore it was wrong and stupid at the same time. You know, even if someone does have a real slappable face, doesn't give you the right to go around slapping them. Just so you know. But you see, therefore, I'm not putting out energy. See, I don't put out that kind of energy that brings that kind of things back to me. I put out energy where people can go on a verbal assault on me, where people can insult me and so forth. Yeah, cool. I like going to war in that way, but I'm not going to put out this kind of energy. So you could say, and it has been pointed out by other people already, but I'm going to point it out. All right, the energy that he puts out will bring certain energies back on him. It's a fact. This is a person who has advocated for punching Nazis, and we all know in this sort of day and age that punching Nazis is like, well, who determines what a Nazi is? Like, who actually gets to decide? Everyone gets labelled stupid labels these days, and so therefore it's all fair game. So if you advocate for, punching people who are on the other end of the spectrum, your adversaries, it should mean you're war ready. And therefore, if you're war ready, then you should accept the consequences that come back on you. It's the energy you put out. This is a simple fact. This is tit for tat stuff. This is how cycle of revenge. This is how the cycle of revenge works. This is how, why do you think all these kids go around stabbing each other and shooting each other over the many decades it's been going on? It's because of the energy they're putting out as well. It's bad energy. Bad energy is going to come back on you. Simple as. Like I said, but I don't condone it at all. But I do not sympathise. I do not. I'm not going to go out and say, poor Owen, poor Owen. No, because it's the energy he puts out. If he, and it's not just the whole punch of Nazi thing. When he was, when they were talking about Winnie Mandela and his death, her death. And obviously people were pointing out of the atrocities that were committed by her. Some real vile, seems someone's drilling upstairs. But some vile business went on for her pursuit for equality. This is the boy who wrote in a tweet saying, if you think that revolution is all kumbaya and singing songs, then you're wrong, saying this is how things get done. So, that's his opinion on revolution. Therefore I wouldn't say he's outright supporting the violence. He's not condemning it, and he's saying, matter of factly, that this is how it goes down. So this is the energy you put out. This is your energy. So don't go off on one about hate crimes and so forth, when this is the energy you put out. This is how the universe works, baby. Okay? You're putting out bad energy, man. Bad energy is coming back on you. Simple as. Okay? There is also the possibility that he's pulling a little Smollett. I'm not saying it's been staged or orchestrated, but there could be Smollett elements in here. It's just a theory of mine. Just because these days you gotta take everything with a pinch of salt, haven't you? It's crazy. It makes me think God, I just don't want to go out because if I get attacked, I think I'm gonna be, there's gonna be someone thinking I've done a Smollett myself. It's just the way it is. Owen Jones says evidence has emerged of political motivations behind attack outside London pub. Owen Jones has said evidence had emerged which suggests political motivations for an attack on him outside a North London pub. Or it could just be a case of, how often are acts of violence committed in London on a daily basis, especially outside pubs. Majority of violence that goes on is in this country, not in this country, in the UK, is alcohol related. It's outside a pub. Talk about 80% of crime, 80% of hospital admissions last time I checked is to do with alcohol, the influence of alcohol. So there's more of a likelihood it's just because of alcohol rather than political motivations. Mr. Jones is a prominent left-wing author and commentator. Said he was attacked and kicked, and also a very, very well-spoken baby. Kicked in the head by a group of men in the early hours of Saturday morning in a blatant premeditated assault, he says, I'm assuming. On Sunday morning, the writer said evidence had come to light suggesting the incident, which is described as a far-right attack. Well, everything is these days, isn't it? Wait until Black Friday comes and people start scrapping. The usual sort of scrapping at, what's that place called? IKEA. That'll be blamed on the far right. So, the far right attack was politically motivated. Asked by the BBC if the attacker said anything to him, Mr. Jones replied, "It is very difficult when you're suddenly on the floor being kicked in the head." True. Asked by the BBC if the attackers said anything to him, Mr. Jones replied, "It is very difficult when you're..." Oh, sorry, I read that bit. "I've had evidence since, which I can't discuss, which suggests political motivations." Why can't you discuss it? Is it because it's an ongoing case? Is this stuff that's been said to the police? The police said you can't say it. What is it? Or is this you just talking? This is where I get my theories in my head. I'm like, because you shouldn't... I'm glad with the Jussie Smollett story that no one let it lie, because there were so many flaws in it and everyone was like relentlessly not letting up on it. And that was a good thing, because it turned out to be well fishy. Well fishy. And a lot of the times news is, it lasts a few hours these days and then it just gets forgotten about. And then the myth outlives the truth. So keep an eye on this one. Mr. Jones previously told The Independent that he was in a group of 6 people chatting outside the Lexington in Islington when he was attacked by up to 4 men. They kicked me in the back, kicked my head. Then my friends got punched for trying to defend me. It was clearly meant for me, he said. Within the context, it's absolutely inconceivable that it was anything other than a far-right attack. Within the context. Over the last year, the amount of death threats from far-right sympathizers I receive have just escalated. The Metropolitan Police said they could not confirm whether they were investigating the incident as politically motivated. Police in Islington are investigating after a man in his 30s reported being assaulted outside a pub in Pentonville Road, N1, at approximately 0200 hours on Saturday the 17th of August, a Met Police spokesperson said. Now look, if you're getting loads of death threats, yeah, and these kind of high-profile people, politicians get so many death threats, celebrities get death threats, so many people get death threats, because there's nutters out there, and people are bored, and people have bad energy themselves, and the only thing they can think to do on like a Monday morning is go, I'm going to tell Owen Jones to go kill himself today. Yeah, I'm going to buy some newspapers and cut out fucking words. This is just, there's crazy people out there, but the amount of people that are all talk, look at people that comment on the internet. It's just chat, man. It's absolute chat. It's breeze. Breeze just it's just breeze. It's always breeze. So, yeah, you can get threatened all the time. But, what is someone do you have evidence to say that someone has been stalking your movements? Someone knows where you go? Someone's been monitoring? Where's... Well, we're going to have to see a lot of evidence to suggest that this was politically motivated. Or, the fact is, you're in Islington. Now, despite the gentrification of Islington, Islington still is a raw place, man. There's some notorious places around there. All right, there's some gangster things go on in Islington. In fact, hell, some of the biggest gangsters in British history have all come from that area. Okay, it's a gangster place. Saturday night, 2 a.m. Okay, or Sunday morning, if you want to be pedantic, outside a pub in a gangster place, and you get set upon. This is the reality of every weekend across the whole of Britain. Stuff just happens. There are when some people are drunk, you know, this is again some small incident that no one knows anything about, that he hasn't shed light on, that's going to be used as political porn, uh, as a political porn, as a political talking point, whereas we don't know, and we have no idea. When actually, you know, it's like the thing, I mean, I did a video about the KLM flight, and it was, you know, someone had complained about someone breastfeeding on it, and it's going, this is an example of institutional misogyny and blah, blah, blah. Whereas I'm just like, you know what, some people are just assholes. We forget this. Some people have very bad days. Some people have a continuation of bad days. Bad day after bad day after bad day after bad day. Builds up in their mind. And then, you know, they see Owen Jones's smug face and they think, you know, all my bad days are going to come out of me with my fists and my feet on this guy. This is how people are. You know, and people are looking way too much into everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially nowadays, you know, the mainstream news and a lot of these commentators like Owen and a lot of politicians and, you know, have become like Illuminati conspiracy theorists at this point. You know, the typical nutters you get online, right? Whereas they just see a triangle somewhere in a photograph and immediately think that it, you know, and then go, oh, Illuminati. Like I said, my girlfriend has a tattoo and it's got the Illuminati eye here, right? What are people going to think about that? Like, I put a photo, if I put a photo up on her and just put loads of hashtags on Instagram, just see people running wild. You'll bring out all the crazies. But this is how the mainstream's become of it. They see something that isn't there, or something that they want to see. If you want to see it, you will see it. If you want to believe something, you'll believe it. Okay? Right? You will. If you want to see racism, you can see it wherever you go. If you want to see homophobia, you see it wherever you go. It's the same with, you know, you get those men who are deluded that think that every woman wants to have sex with them just because they gave them a little look. I've got friends like that. They like look at them for like, oh, she so wants it. Because that's what you want to believe. And now we've got everyone acting like this. It's like, come on, can everyone calm down a little bit? Can we all just chill out? Stop being silly. So he was attacked by up to 4 males who also assaulted his friends when they attempted to intervene. No arrests have been made, and a number of witnesses have been spoken to about the incident. Police said Mr. Jones has linked the attack to the rise of an increasingly violent far right in the UK, which he accused politicians and members of mainstream media of legitimising. Mate, we know nothing. Like, you know, I feel for you for getting attacked. This is a horrendous thing, but don't be doing this. This is the kind of thing that really bugs me. This annoys me. Mr. Jones has linked the death, so we should just be honest about it. We live in a society where on the front page of newspapers you have things like enemies of the people, traitors, saboteurs. That's how people are discussed in politics. You discuss people in a similar fashion. You're all the same. Don't point the finger when you should have a finger point. You know, glass houses and all that, my friend. What that does is fuel. Like, you're advocating for punching Nazis, bruv. Like, calm the f. Don't. You talking at me? Is this what you said to the people before they hammered your face in? Like, gave you a beat down? Because that would annoy someone if they were drunk. What this does is fuel and embolden far-right thugs because they feel legitimised by a wider context of the whipping up of hatred against minorities, also against people on the political left, for example, who are seen as traitors. Research for the Commission of Countering Extremism, seen by The Independent in July, said far-right protests have been attracting the largest number of supporters since the 1930s. Well, that's depending on if you label them far-right. If you can label anything what you want, but is because they'll label pro-Brexit marches as far-right. The freedom of speech marches that they have, because it involved Tommy Robinson, but it wasn't just him, it involved a hell of a lot of people. I don't think it was a far-right event, but they labelled it. So it depends. The same way of when they've talked about the rise in anti-Semitism, which coincides with them changing the laws of anti-Semitism. They added things to what is considered to be anti-Semitic. They added things to it. This is true. They added to it. including criticism of especially criticisms of Israel. So therefore, when you add stuff to it, and when you start saying this is this, then the numbers will go up because you've moved the goalposts. You see what I'm saying? The general public don't have the time to be thinking about this stuff. They got their lives to lead. But you will feed this into their brains, and you think this is acceptable to manipulate people for political gains. No. We ain't having it. I ain't having it. I've had it for so long. Like, no. You're not going to get away with it. I will call bullshit whenever I see it. Like, no. This is bad energy. You are guilty of this stuff. This is your bad energy that you're pushing on the people. Yeah, that's right. That's my rousing speech there. Yeah, Mr. Jones' tweets about the attack were met with support from politicians and journalists yesterday. In a statement on Twitter, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn described the incident as an attack on free speech and our fundamental values. We don't know anything about it, you nut job. He was beaten up outside a pub in Gangster Town. I send my solidarity to Comrade Owen Jones and his friends who were attacked last night. He said, Catherine Viner, the editor of The Guardian, condemned the outrageous attack and added, violent assaults on journalists or activists have no place in a democratic society. Well, go tell your friends that, okay? Go tell your friends. Because there's violence on all sides. Let's not be stupid. Let's not be weirdos about this. Come on. But yeah, keep your eye on this. If you enjoyed this, and like, comment, subscribe, send me money. Send me death threats if you want. You know, I haven't received all I get in the post is junk mail these days. It'd be nice to have something interesting, wouldn't it? Anyway, love and kisses. Bye.